Welcome everyone to the Winning Brand Podcast. I'm your host, Chasey McGee. Thank you for following the winning movement. Please take a moment to rate and review the podcast. As always, it is greatly appreciated. Today's guest, Tai Goodwin, is a business growth strategist and content alchemist specializing in profit optimization strategies. The creator of the Bankable Brilliance Archetype. She's also a speaker and an author of Girlfriend, It's Your Time. Love that title. Her articles have been featured on the Huffington Post, Forbes.com, Careerism.com, and Career Magazine, and she's been highlighted by Money Magazine, Black Enterprise, and the Boss Network. I am so excited to talk to you. Hey, Tai, what's going on?
Hey, Chase, I am so excited to speak with you as well.
Thank you for being here. So tell us how you became so passionate about helping entrepreneurs create a 5-figure months, 6-figure years, and 7-figure goals.
Yes. It started when I was in corporate America, and I hated corporate America. And actually, if I'm honest, it goes back to when I was a teacher before corporate America. I thought it was so hypocritical to tell my students to go to school, go to college, get a job, but then you watch your parents come home and they hate their jobs. It's like, really? Like, that's what we're setting our kids up for? And so I became enamored with this whole idea that we get to become our own boss. And so I also had a coach. And through the power of coaching, I was able to, in my career, go from making $40,000 a year to making about $67,000 a year in one job. And I said, I like this coaching thing, right? You know, it's amazing what you can help people do. And so all of those things kind of culminated with me taking my marketing savvy, taking my instructional design background, and becoming someone who helps entrepreneurs figure out how to make more money, work less hours, and really figure out how to accelerate their profit.
I love that. So you talk about bankable experts know their value. What are some ways that we can determine that?
You know, we spend a lot of time, if you come from a corporate background, over the years, we developed so many skills and so much expertise, and we're just so used to, quote unquote, giving it away because we are making money for those companies. And, you know, that's just how the world works. And so we have to understand that that's value. We have a tendency to think that just because we do it, that, oh, it's really not valuable to anybody else, or everybody knows how to do X, Y, and Z. And the truth is, no, they don't. You know, and we really take that for granted. And so when we show up with all of this brilliance, we undervalue it because we just assume that, well, everybody knows how to do that. There's nothing special about me. And that's so not true.
You're absolutely right, because we we do get stuck in that.
Yeah.
So what are some ways that we can tell if our business model is broken?
Man, I see so many women. I was talking to a woman today, and she was talking about some vendors she hired because she just really wanted to support these young people. And I said, can you clarify what you mean by support? Because especially as women, we have a tendency to support other people, meaning that we give them a chance without expecting them to come up to our standards. And so a lot of times I see people with broken business models like that. They don't have the standards in place that allow them to make more money. They're not choosing the right audiences. They're choosing people who are not willing to pay them. And there's a difference between people who are able to pay you and who are willing to pay you. Because there are people who you would look at and probably say, well, they're not really able, but they're willing and they will find a way to pay you. Right? People that don't have any systems in place, they don't do marketing. They say, I hate marketing and sales. I'm like, how can you be an entrepreneur and hate it? Like, you can not like it, but marketing is the lifeblood of your business. So you can't really hate that. You know, that's not going to work for people. And then, you know, not really understanding what to offer. You know, I've seen people try to offer everything in the kitchen sink, just, you know, so convinced that they have to throw everything out there so that people understand how great they are, not realizing that, no, you kind of need to figure out what promise you're going to deliver and get really, really good at delivering that. So all of those things make people have these business models that are just like overwhelming to them, underwhelming for the people that they serve, and it shows up in their bank account.
I'm so glad you broke it down like that, because we are, sometimes, especially starting off in business, we get so excited, and I meet so many people, they're like, I want to help this person, and this is my client, and this is my client, and they're all over the place. They're not cohesive, they don't tie into each other, and then they're wondering why their message is getting lost, and then I'm like, you can't market all over the place. You can't market to anyone if you're not honing in and you're not focused and you are just kind of like shooting in the dark,
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
not gonna work.
No, not at all. And even, I mean, and even if you could, like, I hear people say that too. My audience is everyone. I'm like, seriously, do you have the money to market to everyone?
Right.
How are you going to get everyone in a room so they can hear you? Like, it just doesn't work that way. And that's one of the challenges I see, is that people are very passionate. And we've gotten into this movement where people say, oh, you can work your passion. And yes, and you have to think like an entrepreneur. One of the hallmarks of being an entrepreneur that makes money is that you are decisive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you have to be firm in that. And I think so many times people just want to please everyone. And I had a conversation with a business owner today, and I said, do you want to be a generalist, or do you want to be a specialist?
Mm-hmm.
Because specialists get paid. Think about when you go to the doctor, and something's really wrong with like your arm. You don't want someone that just solely works on, everything, and they're not specific with that, and then you're gonna, okay, but how much do you really know about my arm? Can you really help me out? So we have to remind ourselves constantly to stay in that realm, am I a specialist or am I a generalist, And I think that can be the driving force on, some of those business models being broken as well.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how sometimes hiding in plain sight. And I know you talk about that, and I love that. Hiding in plain sight versus strategic visibility.
Oh, this is one of my favorite topics, because I see so many of us do. And truth be told, I used to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be, super visible on Facebook, and, I've got 14,000 Twitter followers and blah, blah, blah. But I was like hiding in plain sight because I really wasn't focused on what I call my brilliance. I heard people call it like your zone of genius or your zone of excellence. But it was really, what are you brilliant at? Or, one of the ways people hide in plain sight is that if you only talk to people who can't pay you. One of my favorite examples of this is I had a client who wanted to work with nonprofits. And she would always say, well, nonprofits don't have money. And it was the same issue over and over again. I said, well, who are you talking to? If you were talking to somebody you met in a supermarket that says, I want to start a nonprofit, yeah, she ain't got no money.
Right.
However, there are tons of nonprofits that have budgets of millions of dollars every single year. So you're putting yourself out there, but you're hiding from the people who can really pay you. And that's just one of the ways I see a lot of folks hiding in plain sight. Another way is, not really saying it, like you talk all around it, right? And you just keep, thinking that you have to be nice to everybody and that you have to get everybody to like you. I had a group called Brilliant Business Girlfriends, and we were brilliant business girlfriends, but I closed it down. Because here's what was happening. And I was very honest with this. I said, listen, I don't need any more friends. I need people that are going to hire me. But that was part of my mentality. Like I said, I've been there where, I love where people would like me and they would come and they would ask me questions and it felt really, really good, right? I was in plain sight, right? Mm-hmm. But what was hiding was, no, I don't want to be your friend. I want you to hire me, and I want you to refer me to other people who will hire me. So I could either settle for being liked or I could get paid.
I like that. So you made me just feel a whole lot better when I did the same thing. Like I had to close a couple of groups because I said, you know what? So listen, and it was pretty much like a mastermind. And I'm
Uh-huh.
like, so here's the deal. I am not the only one. Like I have a business as well,
Right.
and I
Uh-huh.
can't keep pouring into you and not receiving anything back.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I need clients. And if you're not going to become a client
Uh-huh.
and I become a client of yours, then we're kind of defeating this purpose here. So yeah, I just shut it down. And then eventually they became clients.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Absolutely.
what? Yeah. So it's so weird how you have to really be bold in that, and you really have to stand and walk in your truth in business. And so many women are so scared to do that,
Yeah.
because we do want to be liked, and we do want to have our friends, but at the end of the day, sometimes I'm like, my friends support me. My real friends
Yeah.
support me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And part of that I realized, there was a time when I stepped away from my business. And there was a couple of reasons, some of it I was dealing with some issues, some personal mental health issues, which is a huge topic that women don't talk about. But I see a lot more women, especially women entrepreneurs, talking about that because it's huge for us. And I was offline for about 6 or 7 months. And I had a group of about 1,200 women at the time. This was like 3 or 4 years ago. Two of the women in that group reached out to me and said, "Hey, I haven't seen you." And I said, "Hey, wait a minute. They're liking all this stuff that I'm giving them, but they're not checking for me."
Right.
So that was one of the ways I had to really evaluate things and understand what's going on here. And so, yeah, setting those boundaries, really being honest. And I talk about that in my book, girl, you mentioned girlfriend, it's your time, but I talk about that as, brilliant women are honest about what we want. Because when we're not honest about it, we will try to fill it with anything else we can. Relationships, shoes, sex, food, all of that stuff. When in reality, if we're just honest, say, you know what, I don't want friends. I want to get paid because I don't want to give this away. And watch how making those honest declarations and then taking action begins to shift things in your whole life.
For sure. You
Yeah.
know what? I'm so glad you touched on in business, that women, we have mental health issues and we have things that we go through, and we try to silence it because we don't want anyone to not do business with me because they're going to think this and they're going to
Uh-huh.
think that. And I was just telling a friend yesterday, I said, I finally took a stance to get my anxiety under control, because I knew I needed to be more productive, and I could be more productive, but dealing and battling with anxiety real bad, and going through a divorce and transitioning and, going through all of these phases at one time, it's a lot. And I don't think, sometimes we comprehend that it's a lot to take in, because you're transitioning like your entire life,
Oh,
but
yeah.
you still have to keep going.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I am really a bit advocate now for people and women doing that self-care and taking care of themselves and saying, hey, if I'm not okay, I'm not okay. And it's okay to not be okay.
Absolutely.
It's okay.
Absolutely.
We're not super women, we try to be.
Uh-huh.
And it's okay. It's okay to work that process, and it's okay to not be okay until you are okay.
Well, even Superwoman had to take naps and sleep and
She
eat.
did,
you know, so I mean, that's the reality of it. I was talking to someone the other day. She's brilliant at Facebook ads and Facebook bots and all that brilliant stuff. And she has a little bit of stage fright. And
Oh,
so I remember my coach telling me, because I'm an introvert. People don't believe that, but I am totally 100% introvert.
I am
And
too.
yeah, so one of my coaches, she shared with me, like Laurence Olivier, popular actor, like Academy Award-winning actor, had stage fright every single time he went on stage. And there's a whole list of people that are famous, that are out there as superstars and celebrities, but they have stage fright and anxiety. You know, so many actors and popular people that deal with depression, and we're starting to talk about that more. But a lot of women, you know, we're tired all the time and we accept that as normal. Oh, I'm
Right.
just tired. And how much can you sleep and you're still tired? No, there's something else going on. But we kind of wear that as a badge of courage to say, yeah, I'm tired. I just got so much going on. That is not a badge of courage. You know, that's a red signal that, hey, something needs to change, whether it's self-care, whether it's reconnecting spiritually, whether it's setting some boundaries and getting out of some relationships. But we really have to, you know, put those things in place so that we can show up and serve the people that we've been called to serve as entrepreneurs.
That is awesome. Yes, so that we can show up.
Yes.
So, what are some distractions that keep entrepreneurs from making money?
Oh, distractions, toys, shiny objects, you know.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I don't think people realize that can be a distraction is your website, right? You know, I can't tell you in my early years, and maybe some of my not so early years, if I'm being honest, how much I hid behind I gotta do something on my website rather than picking up the phone and making a call, rather than following up with someone, because I didn't want to feel desperate. I didn't want to seem needy. I didn't want rejection. And my website's not going to reject me, right? So those things kind of become a distraction. Even Facebook, if you're not using it the right way, it can become a distraction. And we'll say, oh, it's the games and it's this. No, every time you're creating posts on Canva because you want to send somebody an inspirational message that has nothing to do with your business. Okay, you know, I do it every now and then because I'm feeling it. I'm a little bit woo-woo. However, there's a strategy behind that. It's not just that I want people to like it and see how many comments I get. And those things can become a huge distraction because we're so focused on being validated by other people that we don't focus on what do I need to do to make money. And that's thinking like an entrepreneur. It's what I talk about with the whole profit optimization. Entrepreneurs, really entrepreneurs, we think about how can we optimize our profit. And it's not that we're greedy, you know, it's not that, you know, we are, what's the word I'm looking for? Money hungry.
Right.
But that's just the job of an entrepreneur, is that we need to have income, you need to have profit, or else you're a hobbypreneur. Right?
Pretty much. And you guys know how much I talk about hobbies in your business and you trying to make that work.
Yeah.
It's not. Oh my God. Thank you. So what are some ways that we can face our fears in business in order to be more productive and not be distracted and to come up with, you know, the strategies to work in our business?
I think honesty with yourself, you know, about what you really, really want. I hid that for a long time because I would see so many people out there talking about 6 figures in 6 days and, you know, 6 figures in 6 minutes. I mean, it was just really, really overhyped. And so for a while I kept saying, well, I don't really need to make a lot of money and I don't really want 6 figures. And that wasn't true. Like, I want a 7-figure business. You know, and so being honest about that and then facing, okay, who do I have to become in order to do that? And being gracious with myself, you know, not always thinking that I have to get it perfect and I have to get it right. And, oh, people are going to judge me. People are going to judge you anyway. You know, that's going to happen whether you make the money or whether you don't make the money. So I'd rather do it with the money because then they can judge me while I'm on my way to Costa Rica.
Exactly.
Right. You know, I think too, you know, having a real good group of friends and business girlfriends, you know, that are on the same path. I was talking to someone the other day because she was thinking about doing some work together. And, you know, she was like, well, none of my friends pay this kind of money to work with. So with a coach and this kind of stuff. I said, yeah. And how much money are they making? I mean, if you are trying to recruit and, you know, have higher paying clients, but none of the people that you are around pay higher or invest higher in working with other people, they're not going to be able to refer you to anybody who can pay you because they don't do it themselves. And that fear mentality can run rampant in a group because they will dissuade you and they will tell you not to do it. They will talk you out of it. And meanwhile, you're all sitting, at Red Lobster, trying to figure out how you can get to the Ritz-Carlton. And there's nothing wrong with Red Lobster, but if you want to go to the Ritz-Carlton, you got to meet some new people.
Exactly. And you know what? I remember when I really was like, okay, it's time to get to the nitty gritty in my business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I literally made a list on the sticky notes, things that I do not like, right? And then on the other side, things I love. And I said, okay, the things that I love, I'm going to focus on those and I'm going to expand my business off of that. And that's exactly what I did, because I didn't want to, I'm a big component of, if you dread it and if it's a part of your business that you're like, outsource it and keep it moving. Let someone else do it and be brilliant and do your genius and let someone else handle it, and you keep it moving and be great at what you do.
Yes.
And when I started doing that and allocating and delegating people and putting them in the right positions and putting every player has a place on the team, right?
Yeah.
Put them in place, in position, and let them do their job. Your business will grow. It can't help but to grow. So where do you think good clients come from?
Oh, gosh. So I wrote a blog post about this. They don't come from the stork. There is no there is no client fairy.
Mm-hmm.
I really think good clients come from understanding who your audience is and listening to them. You have to know what your standards are. You have to know what your promise is, what you can deliver, and you have to be willing to build relationships with the right people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where good clients, when they come from, clients that you served before and got results for. They come from referrals in your network. They come from you showing up and being authentic, and that's how you begin to attract what I call your right fit clients. But you also have to know what that is so you can weed people out.
So true. So I really enjoyed you here today on the podcast. We are definitely going to make sure that we get your information. So let me ask you this. What are you excited about when it comes to the book and this project?
You know what? I've wanted to be a part of something like this for a long time. And just the opportunity to collaborate. Like, I'm loving the other folks that I've met. I've known a few of the women from before in other, in other iterations of my business. I've followed a number of them online, for a while. And then there are just some new faces that I'm getting to meet, and just the energy of that, even though it's virtual, there's still a certain energy around being a part of this kind of project. And so I am looking forward to the more connections. I'm looking forward to the response from the audience,
Right.
Just the women's lives that we're going to impact and change. I am so excited about that.
I am too. And, being that I get to sit with each and every one of you and talk to you and expose you more in what you do to the world, it's an honor for me to do that for you, ladies.
Well, thank you. I'm so glad that we got a chance to have this conversation. And, I'm looking forward to sharing your work, your podcast out there with some new folk as well.
Absolutely. So I'm so proud of you. So you are definitely winning in this business growth space. And I want to thank you for being a part of the show and sharing your expertise with us. Now, how can we follow you and stay connected?
Oh, so my new website, because I've got a new brand, which I'm super excited about, is profitmomentum.com.
Okay.
And I love that. I've got a Facebook group called 5-Figure Months, 6-Figure Year, 7-Figure Goals, because that's what we want at the end of the day. That's our destination. And so those are two ways that people can follow. They can get in touch. I'm on Instagram at Tai Goodwin, Facebook Tai Goodwin. So just follow the name and those two links that I shared with you, and you'll be in good shape.
Awesome. All right, everyone. So there you have it, Tai Goodwin, business growth strategist here. I will put all of her information down in the show notes and in the description on YouTube. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Winning Brand podcast this week. I can be reached at info@thewinningbrand.com. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please let me know and I will get back to you. Always remember, don't let the fear of losing be greater than the excitement of winning. Until next time, bye.